What's up, guys? We're going to talk about the Winston Million today on Throwback Thursday. So in 1984, R.J. Reynolds, which is Winston, announced that it was going to pay $1 million if any driver could win a Grand Slam. That is 3 out of the 4 Grand Slam or Crown Jewel races at the time. Those, of course, being the Daytona 500, the Winston 500, which was Talladega, the Southern 500, which is Darlington, and the Coke 600, which is Charlotte, and the longest race of the season. If a driver could win 3 out of those 4 races in the 1985 season, they would receive $1 million. $1 million. Furthermore, if you could win 2 of those races, you would win $100,000. So, not bad if you get, a little bonus if you can get 2 of them. So even with $1 million being offered, this was still one of the hardest things to do because you had to win one of the crown jewels. And of course, everybody is going for those races. But in the first year, one guy did it. That's right. This guy right here, in the very first year, in 1985, of it being offered, Bill Elliott won the Winston Million. And you would think this would be like a moment to rejoice. People are like, oh yeah, that's awesome. He won the million. But actually, some of the fans gave some pushback saying, oh, this is too easy. Somebody's going to win it every single year. And so initially, when Bill Elliott won this, even though this launched Bill Elliott into Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, $1 million bill, you can actually see it on this shirt. It says $1 million bill right here. It launched his career, but some people gave a lot of pushback saying it's too easy. People are going to win it all the time and blah, 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 blah. Well, fast forward, and Bill Elliott was the only guy to win it. So in 1996, it was announced that 1997 was going to be the last year of the Winston Million. And lo and behold, in 1997, Jeff Gordon goes and wins the Winston Million. So basically, in its first year and in its last year, the Winston Million was won. And all the years in between, nobody else won it. A lot of guys got close. A lot of guys got that secondary bonus money, including Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, and some other guys. I think Bill Elliott obviously got some of the extra money too. But nobody ever did the full Grand Slam except for the first year and the last year it was offered. From 1998 until 2002, which was R.J. Reynolds' last year in the sport, it was revamped and called the No Bull 5. The No Bull 5 was basically the same tracks. The only difference is instead of being the April race for Talladega, they moved it to the October race. And for parts of this, they included the Brickyard, and then they took the Brickyard out and swapped it for Richmond. So there was a few different tracks, but for the most part, it was pretty much the same tracks. But how the No Bull 5 worked is, if you ran, let's say, the Daytona 500 and you finished in the top 5 in the Daytona 500, the next race, you were eligible to win $1 million if you won that race. And several guys did this and won this. But the other cool thing about the No Bull 5 was you were paired with a fan. So let's say you got paired with Jeff Gordon. If Jeff Gordon wins that million and you're the fan paired with Jeff Gordon, you win $1 million too. So let me just run down the list of all the drivers who won in this particular format because it ended up being quite a few more and also quite a few big names. So in 98, Jeff Gordon won it twice and Dale Jarrett won it once. In 1999, Gordon won it twice again and Jeff Burton won it once. In 2000, Dale Jarrett won it once and Jeff Burton won it once, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. won his final race. His final race, he won $1 million with the No Bull 5 at Talladega. And if you remember those races, they had the orange number on the top, and then they had the orange spoiler too. So there was a designation as to who the No Bull 5 drivers were. In 2001, Jeff Gordon won again, and Dale Jr. won. And in 2002, the final year of it, Mark Martin won, and Dale Jr. also won again. So those were that little short run of the No Bull 5, which never really had the same. It was cool that the fans won $1 million, but the No Bull 5 was never, ever as big a deal as the Winston Million. So let's fast forward The Winston Million was tried. They tried to duplicate it several different ways. It's actually, they're still doing it in the Xfinity series, where you've got the Xfinity Dash for Cash, and Sprint tried the Sprint Summer Showdown, which was a $1 million type deal. That never really caught on. And the Dash for Cash is cool, but it's only $100,000, so it doesn't have the same mystique as $1 million, and it's also in the Xfinity series, which is a Tier 2 series. But the reason I bring this up today is because I think it would be really cool if NASCAR brought this back, and they could do it in several ways. They could do it like it was originally intended and make it special, because I think what made the Winston Million special is basically that only 2 guys ever won it. And if they had done it for a longer period of time, more guys would have won it. There were guys like Cale Yarborough, and there were some other guys that would have won it if they had started it way back in the day. But if you bring it back and do it in that format, it would be really cool, because a guy wins 3 out of the 4 or 5, however many you want to make it. But if they can win 3 out of the 4 or 5 Grand Slam races, it would add extra excitement to the regular season. Because the regular season, if they're going to keep this playoff deal going, the regular season needs something to spice it up. Because after your driver basically wins a race, like, who cares about the rest of the regular season? You know your guy's in. You're just waiting for the playoffs, basically. Another way they could do it is, what if your driver doesn't make the playoffs? No reason for you to really watch NASCAR, right? Unless, what if all the drivers who didn't make the playoffs, all of the guys 17th and under, what if you paid them $1 million to win, or even $500,000? Just give them something. Give them a big financial incentive to win a race in the playoffs. So they have 10 chances to win a race in the playoffs. That would give them incentive to not just, R&D for next season or whatever they're going to do, just ride out the season. And I think it would be just as hard to do, because you've already got your 17 best or 16 best guys in the playoffs. So it would give those guys 17th and under something to shoot for, something financial, and it would give the fans of those guys something to watch and root for extra. It would just give that little bit of extra juice that you need in the playoffs. But of those that I mentioned, which one would be your favorite to see brought back? Or do you think it should be brought back at all? Let me know your thoughts on the Winston Million, and if you think we should see it in the future or anything else, in the comments down below. Also, if you like the content, please subscribe. I really appreciate it, and it really helps the channel out a lot. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.